All right, boys and girls, we got another rematch here, Jubilee, a debate about reparations, and we're just gonna dive right in. I'm gonna be saying a lot of things plain. I'm not gonna throw a lot of opinions out there, but I am gonna throw a lot of factually based information out there. So if we run across anything that I'm gonna have to devour down, that's what's about to happen. All right, no sugarcoating, no nothing. It's about reparations. We already know black people should be getting reparations, but I guess there are people out there who believe reparations is just unheard of and absurd, even though other communities have received them for way less than what we've been through. So, yeah, I said what I said, because slavery and what happened during slavery, those 400 years, those amount of people that died, those are lives. So I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all know how I'm coming, but we gonna see what this man got to say. So let's run it. Chill with me, you'll learn something. If you think it's too much, get out of here, because I'm here to drop facts, not to cater to your feelings.
Enslaved. I was never a slave owner. You don't deserve reparations.
And if you're a white man in America and you are suffering or you're poor, that is your misuse of your privilege.
Same if you're a black American.
How? That's impossible. If that's true.
See, this is why you're a victim. You think people are still holding you back, and you're free American.
Who are you to tell black people they don't deserve some shit they built?
What did you build?
My ancestors built this country.
And so did mine.
Each one of us got paid for
Are you
it.
special?
Your
Are you autistic?
Your ancestors got paid, didn't they?
Well, then you're stupid.
No, you stupid for the you just said. A civil war between people that live in the same country.
Can you listen?
Can you say something with some substance?
Are you capable of listening?
I'm capable of listening.
So then just shut up for a second.
We have done our best to present the facts as we see them. However, we make no guarantees or promises regarding the accuracy, completeness, or reliability of the information provided. In addition, the views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the producers of this program. Nice little disclaimer. Let's get it.
Guys, we got another debate today. We got Austin off script and Bo here today. We're going to be debating reparations. If either of you guys feel like the debate gets out of hand, just raise your hand. I'll step in, or you could say appeal to moderator. We're going to start off with a video, which is why we're debating here today. So play this video. Okay, so that was from a Jubilee 2-on-2 debate, right? You guys did a few months ago.
Yeah, it was from Jubilee's Roundtable. And that video, that particular clip, has 1.5 million views now on my Instagram.
Wow.
Good, yeah.
And I'm sure other people reposted it too, so it probably got a lot more
It's
than
still
that.
getting comments as we're doing this debate right now as we speak. So, yeah, it's that clip was viral. But I mean, Bo, I'll give you the floor to open up.
No, I would like to ask you a question.
Sure.
And just lay it out the best you can. Why do you think you deserve reparations?
Because the economic impact of slavery and Jim Crow still has a net negative impact that is demonstrably provable for black Americans in this country today. When you look at for example, and I have some notes that I've had already written down here, federal policy discrimination going as far back as just as close to the 20th century, redlining via home ownership lines of credit, federal housing systematically denied black families access to mortgages, home ownership, wealth building through property. GI Bill benefits were disproportionately inaccessible to black veterans, and median white household wealth today is 6 to 10 times that of black households, and that varies by data set per year. But the home ownership gap remains large by 30 percentage points, and these are not random disparities. They track historically enforced exclusion. And the fact of the matter is that the black people in this country did essentially free labor for 246 years via slavery. That was then compounded by another 100 plus years of racial discrimination codified purely on genetics. And black people contributed over $233 billion, again, as slaves to the United States economy that we were never recompensed for. And I couldn't call myself a conservative, a Republican, anything of the sort without...
You're not. But...
Well, you can say that, but tell me what a Republican is.
I would say a Republican is somebody that has conservative Christian values that would lean more towards...
First of all, problem number one right here. He just smacked this man with all kind of facts. And do you see what's happening right now? We're pivoting. Now he wants to talk about what a Republican is. Let's see if they go back, and let's see if he goes back and address the facts that were just dropped.
Self-regulation rather than government regulation, less taxes, less lobbyists, less government control. And when you're going for reparations, that's more taxes. But before we get off on that, I want to ask you a couple questions regarding your opening statement. When did redlining end? When did segregation end? That's been over 60, 70 years at this point, and you guys are still talking about it. So I'm just curious to know,
Well,
with those things ended, and
Okay, so we have another premise here that I want to break down. This man has went from the guy telling him the facts about redlining and Jim Crow, and he has accepted those as facts, and now he has moved on to when did it end. That within itself lets you know that he understands discrimination has happened. He understands that those things were detrimental to our community. Now he's moving on to us moving on from that. But here's the key. Where does the repair come? He's already within this video, we're only like 2-3 minutes in. He's already ready to jump over what has happened and talk about why we still talking about it today, even though we all know there's been nothing done to repair what has happened. I wouldn't let him slide with that. Let's see if he lets him slide.
and you actually never experienced them.
Right.
So I'd like to know why you deserve reparations. I understand why they might deserve reparations, but I want to know why you deserve reparations.
Well, let me define. Let me first set a baseline.
Right.
When I define reparations, I am not talking about getting what Dr. William Darity said that Black Americans would be entitled to, which is $250,000. I think that would create a situation where the U.S. couldn't pay that debt. It's impossible. However,
What? See, this is why we can't have certain folks speaking on the behalf of all of us. Reparations within itself is going to act as a way to close the wealth gap for Black people, Black Americans who have been experiencing racism and whose ancestors built this country. That is not a small number. If you're going to close the wealth gap of $200,000 per white family, and that's just a baseline, versus $20,000 for per Black family household, that was the recent numbers, and you say $250,000 check is out of the question, that would be too much. See, this is why you can't bring me in, because I'm gonna drop them facts. Hold on a second. Let me do something real quick. Let me do something real quick. Let me show y'all what I just did here. All right, how many Black households are currently in America roughly? Based on recent data, there are roughly 17 to 18 million Black households currently in America. He said he want to give $250,000 to each Black household. That's that right there, times 18 million. So here's what we're gonna do. That's 18 million right there. So we looking at so we're looking at $4.5 trillion. So we got $4.5 trillion, and that's just 250,000 going to each Black household if they, roughly look at the numbers. But that's just a start. That's not even the full thing. But does America have that money to pay? Man, let me see. I want to see how much money has America spent. So give me a total. That's what I was looking for. All right. Thank you, Google. Since the start of 2022, the U.S. federal government has spent approximately 26.3. Let me say it again before I finish the sentence. Since the start of 2022, the U.S. federal government has spent approximately $26.3 trillion in total. That's based off the Congressional Budget Office. 26.3 trillion just since 2022. And this is why this is why I say some people, like, I appreciate you being there and you talking about reparations, but don't halfway it. I am gonna post this video and y'all gonna get all. I'm not editing nothing. Watch it. Don't. I don't care. But I'm not editing nothing. Y'all gonna get the full raw version. This is what I'm talking about. This dude just said that's not possible. My dude, before you start talking like that, you gotta go do your homework and your research. The US government spend $4 trillion like nothing. They'll drop that money like nothing. They've done that. $4.6 trillion is nothing to the United States. They got plenty money to hand out. Look at this. Total foreign aid. U.S. spent roughly $74 billion in 2022, $72 billion in 2023, $82.3 billion in 2024. Since Russia's 2022 invasion, Congress has authorized $188 billion in total spending related to war. Roughly $164 billion coming from major aid legislation. I mean, billions on billions America just keep throwing out there. The money is there. I need you guys to get past the fact of thinking that the money is not there for reparations. And I'm going to tell you something about me. I'm a factual-based man. I don't dabble in feelings. I don't dabble in what you like or don't like. I dabble in facts. And this man just said that we wouldn't be able to pay reparations, that would be impossible. I just did the math. 18 million households in the United States, $250,000 to each one of those households. It only comes out to $4.6 trillion, which is just a start. Because yes, we need every bit of that $250,000 that you're gonna hand us. And then we also need land. We also need policy and procedure set in place to allow us to get homes, to allow us to continue our education. You already see what they just did with voting rights. They're trying to take our voting rights away. And I got a whole video on that coming out that'll explain kind of what they did there. So the money is there. I need this guy to stop telling these people that we're not looking for money. That's what they want us to think. Everything we need, they manipulate it. We want to love each other. They want us to hate each other. We want money to survive. They tell us all we think about is money. Y'all got to wake up. This is the time. They have the money. The money is not an issue. Let's move forward.
You just said it yourself. Segregation ended about 60 years ago. Women in the United States had gained full autonomy in 1975. Martin Luther King was killed in 1968.
They got the opportunity to vote after black men.
Well, no, right. That's not my point. My point is that the average lifespan of a human being is around 70 to 80 years, give or take. So you just admitted that if the civil rights movement ended only 70 years ago, that means that some of the lasting generational impacts of Jim Crow, of slavery, can still be felt today, which is why my grandmother would deserve reparations. She's still alive. My father, I was born in 1965. I would argue that he and my mother deserve some form of reparations, and I would argue that the children of these people deserve them. Let's be very clear that during the founding of this nation, with the passage of the Homestead Acts, 200 million acres of land were given to white European peasant farmers. They were then enhanced by giving them county agents.
Say that again?
The Homestead Acts were passed shortly after slavery started in the United States. What they did was give away 240 million acres of land in the West and the Midwest.
They just gave them away?
Yes, in an effort to...
You mean people had to go stake their land and fight for it?
No, I mean the United States federal government created multiple...
Who is this guy? Not him, the other guy. He don't even know his... Bro, I'm about to stop this video. He don't even know his own history. This man said who? Who's getting the land? You mean they went and staked for the... No, sir. The U.S. government gave white men, let me say again, gave white men land. Just like still today, there's plenty instances where you see the government is giving more than any other race to the white race. We clown black folks about food stamps and Section 8, but white people won't stop and do the research. The research shows that white people are the biggest receivers of these things.
programs to enable white European peasants to come over to the United States. They were given land grants. And on top of that, they were provided county agents to teach them how to farm. They were also then provided government subsidies to tell them not to farm any further. And the descendants of these people to this day are still receiving federal subsidies not to farm. And these were the same people that are telling Black Americans that we need to lift ourselves by our own bootstraps. Now, to say,
Yes, now you're digging. Let's go.
to a bootless person that we need to lift ourselves by our own bootstraps.
You still haven't explained why you deserve reparations.
Well, you didn't allow. Well, let me first explain what my reparations program would look like. It would look like.
I just want to know why you think you deserve reparations.
Because I'm the descendant of people that built this country that would never pay for it.
So am I. And I'm not sitting here claiming for reparations.
How are you?
Oh no. I'm done. Here's what I'm gonna do for you guys, because I brought you here. We got a video. I might have one person that'll watch the whole thing. That's fine with me. But here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna skip around this video because this man has disqualified himself. This man right here. Go ahead, zoom in on him. He has disqualified himself about 3 times already. This man just said to him, he asked him, why do you feel like you yourself deserve reparations? And you see what he's trying to do. He's trying to separate everything to make sure that young Black men don't qualify for reparations because that's their biggest fear. He's okay with maybe grandma or great granddad getting a little check for reparations, but he's not okay with their children and grandchildren who went through the same things they went through getting their payouts. Because me as a young Black man going through this country, I've had no support from my family. I've had no support from my mom. I've had no support from my dad when it comes to building something out here. You want to know why? Because they are descendants of slaves. They had nothing to give. And that's not fair. Versus on the other side, this guy right here, pretty sure he had 2 parents that could raise him, that could support him, that sent him to college, that bought his first car, that made sure everything was A-okay for him. I'm sure he had those things in place. Now, he just asked this man, why do you think you deserve reparations? To that, he responded, because I am the descendant of slaves who built this country and who was never paid for building this country. And then to that, he responded. The typical white response, this is not an attack on all white people. I'm gonna just leave that there. The response this man gave was, so did my family, so did my people build this country as well. And you don't see us sitting around waiting for reparations. So did you hear what you just said? To all people that move forward and do debates, to debate hosters and producers, to you I say, if you have someone that is debating and that is not staying factual or that is tripping over their own statements, you need to cancel the debate. The biggest problem we have in this country today is people don't know how to decipher facts from ignorance, from opinions. Those are 3 different things. When in this case that you're seeing right now is ignorance. Because how can you respond when you ask a man, why do you feel like you need reparations? And to that he said, because my family is descendants of slaves who were never paid for the things they built. And then you respond as a white man and say, well, my family built this country too, and you don't see us sitting around waiting for reparations? Sir, that's because your family is paid. Your family was on the getting money side of building this country, not the building side. So why would you be looking for reparations when you and your family already got hundreds of thousands, hundreds of millions from all the subsidies, from all the privileges that come with you being a white man? Because that's a real thing. I'm a Black man and I've seen the privilege. Look at the CEOs in this country. They're all, if not, most of them are white men. This country is made for the white skin. So when someone does that or says that, you should disqualify him. because you cannot argue with ignorance. And this man and what he just said was completely ignorant. I'm not attacking him or his character. I'm attacking what I just heard him say. Now, with that being said, I'm gonna let this man finish this point, and I'm gonna skip around on this video to the highlights that I see, because I've already disqualified this man, and this is a complete waste of time talking to someone like this about reparations based off the answer he just gave.
I'm a descendant of people who built this country too.
Yeah, and y'all got paid
I just
for
think
it.
you're being a little bit of a victim, and you're.
And y'all got paid for it, and you heard him jump immediately to, okay, now I'm gonna stop talking facts and I'm gonna start talking feelings. He's jumped from facts, old boy telling him your people got paid. What do you mean? Why are you looking for reparations? And what did he say? I'm gonna tell you what I think. I think you guys are victims. You going into opinion. We don't care what you think. We don't care that you think we're victims because we're screaming, hey, we need help over here, and you don't want to help us. We don't care that you think we're victims. That is reverse psychology, sir. I got another video coming out that's going to be evolving around the psychology behind the angry black man. That is nothing but reverse psychology to make us go against our own grain to not be the angry black man when we should very much and very well deserving be the angry black man. We got a lot of things that we should be angry for in this damn country. But they want to reverse psychology it. That's what he just did here. He jumped directly from facts to, oh, here's what I think. I think you're being a victim. We don't care, sir.
Victimizing other people by claiming that you deserve something that you were never a victim of.
So let me ask you this question. Can you refute anything that I said from a legal perspective?
It's not about refuting it. It's about whether you deserve it.
Are you a Christian, Bo?
Yes.
Okay. So is it written? So since we're Christians, this is interesting.
Yo, see, he's already smoked him. He's already fried him, bro. I don't know who this guy is, but you should. I'm gonna move on.
6% of white applicants in 2021, with 60% of the nation being white applicants. That doesn't make sense. That obviously gave an advantage to Black Americans and minorities.
This is why we need fact checks, because every objective
look it up. You can look it up on your phone.
Every measurable statistical data point that we have as of 2025 indicates that Black Americans, male or female, made up 3% of all DEI hires across this country. What you're saying
that's
now,
not true.
Okay.
Because so where are you getting that from?
The US
So what percentage of Black hires were DEI you want me to look up?
What you can look up for, what year did you just use? What year did you use? You said
no. So let's go back to what you had just said. You said Black Americans only made up 3% of all DEI hires.
Right.
I'll look that up.
But it's actually 3% of DEI within the DEI framework. So people that had, for example, a DEI program in their business, only 3% of Black Americans were hired for those programs.
And while we're at it, remind me what DEI exists for to begin with. Why does DEI exist to begin with?
Honestly, it's a racial component to try to disadvantage the white people and give advantages to minorities.
To disadvantage white people when
Yeah.
they've had an advantage in this country for how many years?
So it's okay to disadvantage a group.
No.
That's what you're saying.
So what that is an
actually
equity
what you're
balancing act.
what you're saying is okay to disadvantage a group because they've had an advantage for so many years.
That's
You have not had. Let's stop calling it an advantage and let's call it what it is. Oppression. You have oppressed a group of people for a very long time. And in your mind, you're calling it an advantage. That's not an advantage, sir. An advantage would be putting me against you in a basketball game, and my genetics gives me an advantage, not something I created, but my genetics itself gives me an advantage over you because I can jump higher and run faster. That's my genetics. That's an advantage. Oppressing an entire civilization of people so you can stay ahead is not an advantage, sir. That's oppression. It may give you an advantage in your mind, but that's not the type of advantages you want over society. Because those groups of people you're oppressing don't want to continue being oppressed by your advantage. So I would have dove into that verbiage and ate that up. It's not an advantage. You guys came with your diseases and your lies and your misuse of the eventually gotten power that you gained, and you oppressed people with it. That's not an advantage. This guy should already be disqualified, but this video within itself represents the type of white privilege that exists in this country. Because imagine a black man got up here and talked the way he's talking right now. He's not displaying any facts. He's basing things off of how he feels, and he hasn't displayed any real substance. Imagine a black man went on there and did. This man right here has to be on 10 times point. Because if he say one thing that don't make sense, which he said a couple of things I had to get on, but if he say one thing that doesn't have substance, everybody's like, what? Get this. You know how that go. There's privilege in this video within itself of watching this white dude have no substance and talk about how he feels about things, instead of presenting us with something real that can go against the reason why you don't want us to have reparations, other than the fact that you know that we will receive something you want. That's what you're really mad about. You don't want young black men who can build businesses, who can build wealth, getting any type of reparations, because that'll put them ahead of you immediately. Not because the money gonna put us ahead of you because y'all got old money. No, it's because you know what we'll do with the little bit. So imagine what we'll do with the lot. Let's move.
Which would be better if we gave everybody opportunity.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, you're confused. I get it.
I'm not confused at all. I'm
Yeah,
actually
you are.
I'm gonna force you to admit how fucking stupid you sound. So white people in this country have dominated the socioeconomic, economic, and political power structure for 244 years. An economic corrective action like DEI is only meant to attempt to balance economic opportunity.
Why do you think we've had control for the last 250 years? Because we've been a majority.
Because
what do you
you
think
stole
happened?
this land, subjugated it.
You don't have control because you've been a majority. In fact, Mr. Man, soon, within the next decade or less, you will no longer be the majority. But here's where you are still the majority at. You're still the majority in our government. You're still the majority in CEOs in this country. You're still the majority in owners. You're still the majority in contracts with the government. You're still the majority of food stamps and Section 8. You're still the majority of where the money is. That's the only majority you will continue to have. And what this man is stating is that DEI was created to create some sort of balance, to take away some of the power y'all have, because obviously you're misusing it. All of the money and wealth that y'all keep building, you keep stacking, and you keep making the world worse. Look at housing. Businesses are buying up housing with no interference from our government, and business and government is majority compromise of people that look like you. So why is the world in the current state that it's in? I'll let you answer that one.
From the Indians.
And this is what I'm talking about. You're a cultural Marxist. We stole this land. No, we conquered it. That's way different.
It's the same shit.
It is not.
You discovered some shit that was already here. That people
No,
were already
nobody
living
had
on. You
control
killed
of
the
the
Indians
full
in it.
Americas ever. They were Indian nations fighting over each other. We didn't steal land. We conquered it. Way different. And you should owe a lot of thanks to people that colonized this land. In fact, you should owe a lot of thanks to people that are white. You're wearing a suit that was invented by a white guy. Typing from a phone that used the internet, invented by a white guy. A phone.
I'm done. This is it. This is the end of the video. I'm not skipping around no more. Did you hear what this man just said? If you are white and you believe that white people created the internet, let me just, because I know, I'm gonna just do this. Let me just Let's just do this. We're going to end this video because why did you talk to this guy for a solid hour when he's talking like this? This is white privilege right here. This man hasn't said anything that makes sense. He's going off of feelings. He's talking about his advantages and conquering people like he's not talking about our ancestors and how they killed them. And he's just proudly, we conquered this land. You proud of that? You proud of the diseases you brought here that killed people? Because fun fact, you might think you guys came in like Thor with weapons and just slammed your hammer down and killed everybody. That was not what happened. Fun fact, Europeans came here with their diseases, and that is what killed majority of their opposition. Go look it up. One more thing. He said white people created suits. White people created the internet. Let's see. The internet was not invented by one person. It was developed over decades by numerous scientists and engineers. Okay, so it wasn't by one person, and then we got this guy here, father of the internet, Tim Berners. Let me. You gotta dig deeper, guys. You cannot just stop here. Let's see. The internet was not created by one person. It was developed. Okay, I heard you say that already. AI mode. Give me some. No single person created the internet. It was a collab. Okay, so here within itself, and this is where I'm gonna leave it at, because y'all really, white people who feel like this guy, who feel like y'all created everything and y'all conquered everything, y'all really gotta stop. You gotta stop. You gotta take a step back and you gotta go do some fact checking, guys, because feelings and facts are not the same thing. You might feel like, through psychological operations ran by people that look like you might feel like you created everything and you conquered everything, but when you go back and look at the small details, it's the little things that get you. You realize you didn't conquer everything. You killed everybody with the diseases you brought. And you also realize that you did not create everything, because here is Google saying no one person created the internet. Now, I got one more thing I'm gonna show you before we get off the internet thing, because he mentioned phone. Now, I know for a fact a black person has something to do with the phone, but let me go back to the internet. No single person created the internet. It was a collaborative project involving decades of research by government agencies, university scientists, and you know black people was mixed in that. Obviously, black people was mixed in everything that was being created. We just didn't get any credit for anything. Now, black inventors and engineers were absolutely instrumental. I'm sorry for yelling, guys. No, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry at all. No, I'm not sorry for yelling. We ought to be adamant about these conversations, because I've lived in America for 33 years and I haven't received any type of financing whatsoever. Credit score has held me back. My color of my skin has held me back. Everything has held me back. I haven't had my opportunity at all. At all. So am I livid about the fact that we still got to see and have these conversations about reparations, even though I just dropped a video where it shows Donald Trump signing a reparations document for the Holocaust survivors? It was a particular bill that allowed them to go back and retrieve the things that were stolen from them. I understand that. But if you're signing anything that has anything to do with reparations in 2026 and you're not involving black people, it's a smack in the face. Black inventors and engineers were absolutely instrumental in developing the technologies that make the modern phone and internet possible. White privilege in real time is this man right here throwing his feelings around because his feelings are hurt that this man can't be no more than in his 30s or 40s. He does not want his black counterparts, other black men who are around his age group, to get any type of funding because that scares him. That's where we at. That's where we at in the world. Run it.
invented by a white guy. You benefit from whiteness. So I'm really sick and tired of this argument that, oh, colonize this, colonizer that.
If you go, I'm light skinned, Bo. So if you go far
What does
back
that
enough,
mean?
if you go back far enough in my genealogy, I have white in me as well as black. The point I'm making to you is, one, Columbus discovered some shit that Native Americans were already living on. They killed the Indians, conquered the land. They still stole it. Not only did you steal the land, you then bring over slaves because you're too lazy to do your own damn work, build your own White House. You have my people build it. Then you subjugate us and treat us as property for 244 years.
Do you
when
think
we attempt to make
Black Americans
corrective action, let me finish. When economic action is attempted to be installed to correct a severely, ridiculously high economic advantage that people with your skin tone have had for 244 years, now, oh my God, the white people are under attack. No, that's the fragile white fucking ego.
Yes!
That's all it is.
This is why
Stop it. That's it. I'm a fan of you, my boy. Thank you for getting on this stage and letting these folks know what it is. Y'all ego is fragile. Not all of you. Don't come on here like, oh, he's calling all the white people. Ain't nobody calling for violence. Ain't nobody calling none of that shit that y'all like to come on here and say. We ain't doing none of that. All we exposing is that you guys are piss afraid of your comrades, of your counterparts, who is your age, in their 30s and 40s, receiving any type of funds to do anything. Even though y'all have more than enough money to last 3 to 4 lifetimes, you don't want us to receive a fucking penny. You've had every leg up imaginable in this country. Do your homework. Don't come arguing with me. I'm talking facts. You have had every leg up. In my experience in this country, I've had every leg down. Everything that I've built today, I built with my own 2 hands. And I'm still struggling, bro. I'm still struggling to get business funding. I'm still struggling. I had to leave corporate America altogether because of the racism. Racism is more rampant than I've ever seen it. Our voting rights were literally just undermined, is what they did. We still can vote, but they undermined our power and authority by shrinking us, shrinking the power of our vote. And you sit here upset, more upset than a cat that somebody just threw in a swimming pool, because you don't want us to receive a penny. We all know what black people will do if left alone and given some reparations. We'll do what our ancestors did. We'll build our own businesses. We'll build our own banks. We'll build our own processes that doesn't have to be drenched in racism. You want us exposed so you can continue to feel like you're a savior over a people, and therefore you want us broken so we can continue to come to you to ask you for saving, instead of just giving us our reparations so we can go on about our business, exit the white racism BS that we don't want to deal with no more, and just start dealing with our own people. And the crazy thing is, a lot of the whites, the good Caucasians, will prefer black corporate America over the white one. This is the big fear. It's the ego. The current state of the world is absolutely fucked up. Now let me ask you, who is the leader of the world? What skin tone do they have? If you're wondering why the world is so corrupt and upside down, you have to go speak to the leaders. Who are the leaders? If the black man was set free to thrive, given our reparations, and no interruption, not reparations and then you gonna come around and try to bomb us secretly, not reparations and then you still devising plans to break everything we gonna build with those reparations. No, give us reparations and leave us the fuck alone, and watch how the world slowly but surely becomes a better place. Black people are violent. You made us violent. Black people kill each other because we don't have any resources and we're fighting over the small resources we do have. Your ghetto. You guys created the ghetto. I rest my case.